This is Write Something Good. I'm your host, Brian Buell. I write as Brian C.E. Buell. And today we're going to be talking about this podcast. Specifically, this is the introduction. And what I'd like to do is get into the mission statement, as it were, what the intention is, who am I, why you should listen to me, and just a little bit about, what this whole journey is going to be, what the content's going to be. So just to get into this, the mission statement, it honestly sounds like a pitch for a sci-fi story. In a world where robots are trying to take over, you must arm yourself with knowledge, overcome your fear of the blank page, and learn to write something good. Write something good has been the tagline of my blog for 12, 15 years, something like that, however long I've been maintaining it. And grammatically, I think write something well would be what you might expect for something like writing advice in terms of like how to do it well. Writing something good, however, means putting something nurturing and good and whole into the world that makes the world better. Write something good. And as much as I'm going to offer writing advice, the advice I've been collecting for however long I've been doing this, the intention is to get people to escape the trappings of AI, to escape all of the stuff that's coming up that is hostile to us as creatives, right? As I am going through this, like the notes in front of me, there is a button for wanting me to upgrade my plan and get more into Copilot and do a bunch of stuff. And while there is plenty of us that are skeptical of AI being capable of providing anything of particular good value, there's plenty of people that they'll click the button. There's plenty of people that look at writing as a chore, that look at it as a task, and they're all too willing to let the machines be their voice instead of using their voice themselves. And I think one of the things that we can do to try to get people to forego some of those extra tools, to forego those things that aren't generating the kind of things that we would probably want to read. I think that what we have to do is get over some of the fear of the blank page, and the best and easiest way to do that is to come at it with knowledge, to come at it with technique, to know what, if you know what you're doing, it's easier to do those things, right? So there's not going to be a lot of pretense in this. I think this whole thing will probably be lightly edited. I've got plans for the first 8 episodes, and the hope is to, publish them every 2 weeks. And if there's interest in this, I want to keep going. The kind of content that I would like to bring is, like, as I said, first and foremost, writing advice. I've been collecting writing advice at conventions. I've collected on my own with writing, talking with other writers. Some of the best writing advice I picked up inadvertently through working with, extremely good editors. So this is the kind of stuff I want to share. This is the kind of stuff that I think those people that are that could be swayed to use LLMs in order to write their stuff, to write their, like, even their emails. I think that the first step is to just have some knowledge of what you're doing and having some tips and tricks to help you get over that, starting line. And that's what this is. That's what the writing advice is going to be about. In addition, I would eventually like to bring in people and interview them, talk to them, get their writing advice, have them talk in their own words about the things that they do in order to help them get past the blank page and to be creative and to produce good work. And also, I would like to do book reviews. I'd like to read some books that are maybe, independent published. There's, the people that have like made it, that have like done good stuff. They generally don't need somebody like me to like raise visibility to them. I don't, like, again, I'm not bringing a lot of ego into this. I don't have any kind of expectations that this is going to be enormous. But I still would like to use what voice I have to elevate other people's work, to bring, to highlight what they are doing, And I think that as I do these book reviews, I think that I could highlight the kind of things that people can learn from these stories. I want to look at these books not just from a way in which they entertain me, but a critical eye in terms of like, what can I learn? What did they do really well? What can I or other writers learn and bring into their own stories? So that's the idea. That's the content. Who am I? I am, as I said at the beginning, I'm Brian Buell. I write as Brian C.E. Buell. I have published with a small independent publisher, Water Dragon, which is the science fiction and fantasy imprint under Paper Angel. The books I have out, I have a novel out of urban fantasy called The Repossessed Ghost. I'll talk about that more later. Another 2 short stories, a follow-up to The Repossessed Ghost, is The Psychic on the Jury, and an unrelated work, also written for my wife, One for the Road. I've also got dozens of short stories that I haven't published anywhere. There was one short story that I'm actually really proud of that went into an anthology that didn't sell very well. So, that is, it is what it is. I don't teach at a university. I don't have a particularly impressive pedigree. I just have a long history. I've been doing this for a long time. I've started writing almost 40 years ago. I've been taking this very seriously for the last 15 years or so. So I just have a stick-to-itness and a real passion for writing and for talking about writing and talking about how we can write and the how the sausage is made, approaches, tips and tricks, things like that. So anyway, thank you for giving this a try. This again has been just about what this is about. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about analyzing writing advice. So this has been Write Something Good, and I'm Brian Buell.